Hi, and welcome to Epic Restorationz. Today, we're prepping the lady in red for her new Mitchell Transmission and Overdrive. That means installing a new ring gear and pilot bearing, along with our freshly resurfaced flywheel and pressure plate. We've got a full day of work ahead of us, so grab your tools, roll up your sleeves, and let's get to work. Since our last video, we took our flywheel into a local machine shop and had it resurfaced. Our flywheel had a few shallow gouges in it and had developed some minor warping and glazing from use. By machining it down to a fresh surface, we're guaranteeing that the lady in red shifts like a dream and that the new Mitchell setup performs exactly the way it was designed to. Now, getting a new ring gear to drop down onto a Model A flywheel can be a struggle, but you don't always need a 50-ton press to get the job done. Sometimes you just need a Michigan winter and a barbecue grill. To set things up, the flywheel spent the night outside in sub-zero temperatures so that the metal would contract and shrink down just a hair. Now we're bringing the heat to the ring gear. We've got it cooking on the grill, heating it up until it expands enough to drop down onto the flywheel.
So here we're all ready to get this going. Got the grill cooking away. It's a little over about 525 right now. I gotta get it up to 600 or more. I got the ring gear in there and oriented the right direction. So as soon as it's hot enough, I can drop it on. Now, the flywheel right now, and I've used this cold weather, and it is now about 8 or 9 degrees. So now I'm on a quick temperature. Okay, here we go. See, far enough. Just like we wanted it to. Now, it is loose, so I'm just gonna let it cool.
See, it starts to, it doesn't rattle now. It's starting to tighten down.
There. Well, we should make some mistakes.
With the ring gear set, it's time for the pilot bearing. It's a simple press fit into the center of the flywheel. Using a socket and a few light even taps with a hammer, the pilot bearing is seated. It's a small part, but it's a heck of a job getting in here to change it. So anytime you've got the flywheel off, it's best to just go ahead and change that bearing out. It's critical for keeping that new Mitchell input shaft perfectly aligned. With the new ring gear and pilot bearing on the flywheel, it was time for installation. Carefully placing the flywheel back on the two housing dowels, we torqued the new flywheel bolts to 55 foot-pounds and then safety wired them in place.
Okay, today we managed to get the flywheel put back on. And my next step will be go ahead and get the starter put back on. But as you can see on the flywheel, while we're at it, our favorite thing, I took it into a machine shop and had them refinish the front face, which is right in here. And just note that when you are doing that, whatever they take off down where the clutch plate would end up, out here where your pressure plate bolts on needs to be taken down that same number of thousandths. That will maintain the gap from this outer surface to the inner surface.
With the flywheel secured, we moved on to installing the new clutch disc and pressure plate.
So now we're ready to put the clutch plate, and you want to get the longer side that sticks out further away from the engine toward the transmission. And this is a mounting tool here with splines. And then this will go in the bearing. just like that. And that'll hold that clutch plate in place. And on top here, we have a mark. You can see the mark, and then if we look at the clutch plate, also has the mark right there. So we've cleaned this clutch pressure plate off. So this side is nice and clean. Use brake cleaner, and then we're gonna put 12 of these bolts in. And what I think I'll do is I'll just kind of get it started. Got to work around the steering wheel. There we go. And I'm using brand new number 5 bolts. And you can see the marks line up. And that's because at one time that flywheel and pressure plate were balanced together. So you want to make sure they stay the same.
With the clutch disc centered and the pressure plate hanging on these 2 top bolts, we can get the rest of the hardware started. Now, even though it's held in place, we're not going to just zip these bolts down. We're installing the remaining bolts by hand, moving in a crisscross pattern around the face. We want to take up the slack gradually, ensuring the plate seats perfectly flat against the flywheel without putting uneven tension on the springs. Now, be careful and don't go reaching for that big impact gun here. The torque spec for these pressure plate bolts is surprisingly light. We're looking for just about 20 foot-pounds. Since we're bolting into the flywheel, you want to be fairly precise. Over-tightening can stretch the bolts, or even worse, strip out the threads in the flywheel itself. We'll set the torque wrench, click through the bolts one last time, and then this assembly is officially ready for finger adjustments. Before we lock anything down, we have to talk about finger height. We're aiming for exactly 5/8 of an inch measured from the top of the fingers to the hub. The reason this is so critical is uniformity. If these fingers aren't perfectly level with one another, then the pressure plate will release unevenly, which leads to clutch chatter and a whole lot of frustration down the road. To do this, we're using a depth gauge to check each finger.
So decided to finally make a gauge. We've done enough of these finger adjustments on the pressure plate, and I just used some angle iron and made it just long enough to go across the pressure plate. And I'll show you. And then I drilled and tapped a hole for this bolt and put a lock nut on it, so I can measure this out to 5/8 or 3/4 or whatever depth you want to set the fingers to.
Now comes the fine tuning. We're going to adjust these 6 pressure plate fingers so they all move to meet the throwout bearing at the same time. Using the adjustment tool as our gauge, we'll go finger by finger. If the tool hits one but misses the next, we know we need to tweak it.
There. I think you're there. Try to move it now. You should feel it. I'll go a little too much.
I feel it too much now.
Too much.
Right there.
Okay.
We'll keep rotating through them, adjusting, checking, and rechecking until that tool clears all 5 with the same amount of tension. It takes a little patience, but it's worth it.
Right there. That will hit.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, this one. I have no idea where I'm at.
You're good. Probably another turn or turn and a half.
You're way there. One after another, we turn the adjustment screws in or out until we hit that magic 5/8 inch mark.
Right there. Ouch. That hurt. Don't do that. Hurts, don't it? Bad luck.
Close.
We usually go around the circle 3 or 4 times just to be safe. We want every finger identical so that when the throwout bearing hits them, everything moves in a perfect straight line.
I think that right there,
Like we got.
you might have gone too far.
Yeah, I got a little bit of movement, so that'll come back just a little bit the other way.
One way to double check that we're level is to set the throwout bearing itself on the fingers to check for rocking.
Yeah, I think that's it. Now let's put my bearing on there. Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
No rocking?
Don't they feel it, eh? Well, I don't feel any rocking, so I think we're good.
With the fingers adjusted to the correct height, we need to make sure that those screws don't move. For old cars like this, the traditional method is staking. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is staking? Staking is a classic mechanical trick where we use a punch, or in our case a screwdriver, and a hammer to physically move a small amount of metal from the screw head into a notch or a slot on the part it's bolted to. By mashing the metal together, we're creating a physical barrier. Unlike a lock washer that uses tension, staking creates a mechanical interference. That screw physically cannot turn until you force it back out. It's the ultimate way to ensure parts don't vibrate loose. Now, ideally, we'd like to stake every one of these adjustment screws to lock them in, but as anyone who works on these cars knows, sometimes the parts have other plans. We ran into a few bolts that we just couldn't get a reliable stake, so we're pivoting to red, high-strength thread locker for those specific spots. While staking is the traditional preference, a high-temp thread locker is a solid backup to ensure those fingers don't move. It's all about making sure they stay put once it's sealed back up. And with that, our prep work is done. We've got our resurfaced flywheel mounted, our pressure plate locked down, and those fingers dialed in to a perfect 5/8 of an inch. The stage is finally set for the star of the show, the Mitchell Transmission and the Overdrive. Join us next time as we finish up this install and finally take the lady in red out for a test drive on the next episode of Epic Restoration.